If you want to dominate your industry and become irreplaceable in the marketplace, so everybody in your market is forced to go to you or to go to second or third place, you need to build what we call a moat around your product line. And in this video, I'm going to show you how I've been able to build a moat in my agency, which has made it incredibly difficult for people to come in and replicate what we've done, how we get our clients results, and how we can use it as a selling point on the front end, and how ultimately that's allowed me to scale to $250,000 a month and remove myself from the equation by 19 years old. Now, you might be wondering, Cameron, what the hell even is a moat in the first place? You want to think of a moat as the thing or the line that separates you from everyone else. Let's just pretend these are all different people. And the way that you build a moat is you need something that you can do that not other people can. And then you want to double down on that. And then when you're able to do that, you essentially have the capabilities of building your own castle on your own island with water surrounded by it, where if your competitors try and cross this line, they're going to fucking drown. And that is your goal in your agency. Because if you can create that moat, number one, it's going to be a lot harder for you to be replaced. Number two, you're going to have consistent MRR coming in without worrying about what's going to happen the next month and relying on paid in fulls like most agencies do. And number three, your competitors are probably going to go out of business unless they do something radically different. And a couple of examples of moats would be building out a consulting arm to your agency, having access to a proprietary system that allows you to get better leads to your clients. And the cool thing is about building a moat, once you've got that unique selling point, that thing that nobody else can do, the more clients you get, the more data you collect, the harder and harder it gets to replace you. Because the more clients you get, the more leverage you have, the more social proof you have, and the flywheel spins and spins, where you'll get a client, that client will then leave you a review, and then that review will then probably help you and aid you in getting more clients. And that's why a lot of the time, the way that the agency lifecycle works is 0 to 10K a month is really hard. 10 to 50, you're building social proof, you're fixing systems and operations. Honestly, 50 to 100, 100 to 200. Yes, there is teams, systems, and processes you need, but a lot of it is just rinse and repeat and building and expanding on the things that you've already developed and built from 10 to 50. Okay. Now, one moat that pretty much every industry needs and allows you to separate yourself from anybody else is what I built. And the way that I was able to develop what I call my client sales training course and our consulting and the consulting arm of my agency is I just kept asking myself every single day, what is the number one thing that clients complain about and churn out for? And I came back to the same answer every time, which in my case, it was client lead quality. Clients coming to you and going, oh, the leads are bad, they're low quality, they don't work, they're unqualified, they don't have any money. And I noticed a pretty common pattern that I could have clients in similar areas offering similar services, and one of them would crush it and close everyone, and the other would get shitty results and close no one. And when this happens, the usual flow is the client comes to you and blames it on the lead quality and says everyone you're bringing them is shit. And while this can be true, I've tracked this data. We have a fulfillment dashboard where we can see everything from cost per lead, click-through rate, all the way through the acquisition process to revenue, upfront cash, close rate, all of the data we need for our clients. And I found that 20% of the time it's lead quality, 80% of the time it's the client not being able to close, meaning they just simply do not know how to sell. And when it comes down to clients not being able to sell, obviously there's only so much you can do, right? Especially if you're running a done with you or done for you agency, the typical flow goes, if I just like skip to this part, is the following, right? You generate the leads, you book consults, you get them to show. That's done for you. Now, if you're running a done with you agency where you just generate the leads, the client's responsible for way more parts of the acquisition process: booking, showing, closing, retaining. So the problem is, well, how do you get your clients to close more if you do not have direct control over the outcome? And the way that you do that is you train them on ways to sell better. Okay. I found that a lot of the principles that apply in online sales also apply in brick and mortar sales. And any client that you have, the principles are going to be the same across the board. You want to sell PIFs, you want to follow a sales process, you want to do discovery. You want to let the prospect do majority of the talking. All of the basic fundamentals that, to be honest with you, a lot of your clients aren't going to be doing. And that's simply one thing that we did that made us a lot more money. And the way that we did this is, number one, it comes down to two things. Number one is setting expectations with the clients in the right way. And then number two, giving them the trainings, the materials, and the resources and the coaching necessary to get better at sales. And I know some people are thinking, because I thought the same thing when I first built this out for our clients, well, isn't that my client's responsibility? Why should I teach them how to sell? And every time that I think about that, and when I was considering building this out, was, you always want to eat your customer's complexity. Think about Jeff Bezos and the way that he built Amazon. He built it in a way where he ate all of the customer's complexity, and that's why he runs a multi-billion-dollar company, because he's made it as easy as possible for the customer. And the reason that he did that is because he put in a lot of pain into building the products. He took all the responsibility. Therefore, the less pain the client experienced. And we want to do the same thing, because the rule is as follows. The more pain you put into building your product and the more responsibility you take, the less pain your clients will experience. And not only that, if you build a really good training program, which if I just show you the one that I've built for our clients, like so, where you can have live coaching calls with your best clients on operations, sales, marketing, AI, you can teach your clients those things. You also have a classroom teaching them sales, content, team, self-mastery, live call recordings, offer packaging and messaging. You give them everything they need to level up not only on the sales side, but in their entire business. It gives intangible quick wins that don't tie directly to ad performance. That's another big problem with the agency model. Whether we like it or not, the split is as follows. Really, you're not ever going to have every client getting results, right? What I've found is out of the 100%, 20% are going to get killer results, right? 60% are going to get average results. And then the other 20%, their results are going to be shit, and they're probably going to churn within 90 days. Okay. That's the typical split in an agency model. And when you build out a sense of community, a program, it gives intangible quick wins that's going to in turn increase your retention. And it allows us to upsell clients into a tight-knit community of med spas later down the line. This is how you can develop a back-end ascension. And a back-end ascension isn't needed for you to get to 100, 200K a month. But if you want to get to 500K, a million a month in your agency, you're going to need a back-end ascension process so you can really squeeze the juice out of your lifetime value, okay? So number one, when should you actually implement this? And again, this is just one example of building a moat, which is another moat that you can build where you leverage your client data like so, put it all in one centralized place, and all clients have direct access to it. So they can leverage all the ad spend that you spend for your clients across the States, Canada, wherever you operate. And the more clients you get, the smarter it gets. And they can ask it questions on, what ad copy should I run? What offer should I run? Where should I run it? What are the expected KPIs? And it can pull that based on all of the data that you've already given it. Okay, that would be another example of a moat. But for the purpose of this video, the one that's had the biggest impact on us has been the client training course. And when it comes to building this out, if you're just starting out in your niche and you have sub 10 clients, you don't want to bother building this out yet. You're just getting off the ground. You want to get to 10, 20, 30K a month until you really start considering, how do I build a moat around my agency that makes us stickier and harder to replace? Because whether we like it or not, if you just run ads for your clients and you run templatized ads, you're easy to replace. I can come in your niche tomorrow and copy your fucking agency and probably sign as many clients as you in a matter of weeks, just simply by running ads, running an offer, copying what you do. But the more responsibility you take on in your fulfillment to get the client towards the end outcome, the harder you are to replace. That's why a lot of people started building out call centers for their clients. Why? Because it's harder to replace. That's why a lot of people started building out client training courses. Why? Because it's harder to replace. Okay. All of these things compound on top of one another, as well as the more clients you get, you're just simply harder to replace as well, because you have more data, you have more validated offers, you have more proven systems and operations. Okay. And a few benchmarks to look out for in terms of when it's time to actually build something like this out is if you're spending too much one-on-one time with clients, you've got inconsistent results across similar services, clients frequently blame lead quality, you're experiencing high churn rates, or you want to increase your retainer value and have a back-end upsell, okay? The ideal time to introduce a client training program I found is when you have around 15 clients and you've identified patterns in why some clients succeed and others fail. And your client training course should focus on the aspects of success that you don't directly handle. Now, what I mean by that is if you run a done-with-you agency, you control less of the acquisition process. So you need to have more training. You need to train your clients on phone scripts, how to increase show rate, how to close, and how to retain if you want to go above and beyond. If you run a done-for-you agency, you require less training material. You're going to train them on sales, retention, systems, operations, in-office stuff, or whatever happens on the inner workings of their business, you can teach them on that, okay? I know you're probably thinking, well, I don't know anything about that, and I'm going to show you my solution to that in a minute, because funny enough, I've never even stepped foot in a med spa. How ironic is that? And I was able to get to 250K a month and build one of the best consulting programs for med spas in the space, okay? Now, the training program serves 5 purposes. Help clients close more leads, save you time training clients on the same things over and over again, because instead of you teaching them a specific objection, if I give you an example in our training program, one of our modules is on sales. If a client is struggling with objections, we have a video breaking down every single objection that our industry would face. It's too expensive. Let me talk to my partner. I just want to try one treatment. Uncertainty, closing, leveraging financing plans, follow-up, live trainings. Sales crash courses, breaking down the entire process. So instead of us wasting time having to regurgitate the same information, it creates leverage for you and your client success team because you can simply just funnel them into the videos, okay? It decreases time to value, which I already mentioned a minute ago, which it basically means you can give them intangible wins right out the gate by providing immediate value with the videos. It gives you another leg to stand on to prevent client churn, and you can make more money from your clients. The way that we've started doing it now is because our coaching program has become quite robust, and we have our best clients run coaching calls on their area of expertise, whether it be a specific service or a specific division in their business, sales, marketing, retention, systems, team, operations. Then you build a moat around your agency because it's a lot harder for people to replicate that. Okay. Now, the structure of these programs is as follows. There's the 3 C's: course, coaching calls, community. The course, pre-recorded content, 5 to 30-minute videos, coaching calls, weekly or bi-weekly. I would recommend that you have your best clients run these calls. And a rule of thumb with this and a little bonus is you can go to your best clients and say, hey, John, have you ever considered becoming a consultant or like making some extra money on the side? It's 100% profit. And what I do is majority of our coaches are actually free. I don't pay them a dime simply because I sold them on the vision of building their personal brand. And if somebody wants to pay for one-to-one consulting with them, they can totally do it. And some of our clients do. And then community, the school community. I'd recommend keeping it super lean to start. And you want to focus on the lowest hanging fruit. What you want to do when you start building this out is ask yourself, what are the main problems your clients are facing? And then solve those problems first. For me, it was sales. After that, it was building out offers, packaging, and messaging. After that, there was bonus content, team and operations. We had our best client build this out, organic content. We had one of our clients who had 300K followers build out the organic content arm. So that's the way that we went ahead and structured this. Okay. Now, in terms of the course, there's 3 key parts of the structure. You've got a module, a set of folders and videos covering a specific topic, which is module 1, module 2, module 3. These are modules. Okay. And this is built in school. Folder is a subset of trainings within a module. So if we go into the sales module, we can see we then have the folders. Now, these are folders where you can close them up and down. Okay. And then we have a video, which is self-explanatory. And this is the way that I would structure your client training course. You have intro and onboarding, overview, quick wins, FAQ, offer packaging and messaging, and you can see module, folder, video. You can pause the video and take a look at the way we've got this structured. Okay. And I'd recommend keeping it, again, super lean to start. Don't think you need to build out this crazy robust program right out the gate. Focus on the lowest hanging fruit that you can get your clients results with. And for a done for you agency, here's what it's probably going to look like. Reason being, you don't need to train them on calling the leads, following up with them, getting people to show, because you are taking responsibility for that. Okay. And notice that we didn't include trainings on services we provide, like ad creation, campaign management. The focus in the training course is to solve the problems, or at least help your clients solve the problems that you cannot directly solve. Selling, if you run a done with you agency, booking, etc., etc., etc. And the less control you have, the more training you need. And typically, the further down the acquisition process you go, the less control you have. Okay. What I mean by that is, who has control over generating leads in an agency? You do. Who has control over retaining the client? Your client fully does, right? So the further along the acquisition process you go, from lead to booking to show to close to retain, you lose more control each time, which means the further along the spectrum you go, the more training you need. Okay. For example, if you have a done with you offer and you just generate leads, then you need to train your clients on calling leads and getting them to show. If you have a done for you offer, you have full control over the booking and show process. So your training will be less extensive, and you'll need training just focusing on the sales process and potentially retaining the client you bring them, which would ideally be made by your best client or somebody crushing it in the industry. The more you do for the client, the less training videos you need. And whenever you're trying to build this out, again, I truly believe that simple scales fancy fails, and less is more. Ours is really robust, and that's because we've developed this and progressed it over the span of the last 3 years based on every single problem that our clients have faced, what questions they had, what problems they wanted to solve. But I would first start by analyzing your most successful clients. What are they doing differently? What systems do they have in place? Then look at your struggling clients. What are they missing? Where do they get stuck? And the gap between these two groups forms the foundation of your training content. And the final thing I'll leave you off on here is I would strongly encourage you to record the videos yourself. But if there is a gap in your knowledge that you do not know, for example, I don't know the next thing about team and operations of running a med spa. So what did I do? I paid my best clients to figure out how they do it. Now, you can do this in one of two ways. You can pay them to do it and have them record it, or you can pay them to figure it out yourself. You then keep that knowledge, which is going to serve you in the future as you grow your agency and train your team on it. And then you can then record the videos yourself. I've just found from personal experience, clients are never going to put the amount of effort, and they probably don't know how to build a course. Okay. So that is pretty much everything. And again, if you want access to everything I've just showed you here, like all of my internal team trainings, and you want my AI agent that breaks down how you can actually build this and automate building out this entire thing, check out the link below. Do have something to sell you. It's specifically for agencies. Either 0 to 10 is the first link, or 10 to 100 is the second link. Look forward to chatting to you then.